Deluded Scottish nationalists need to wake up to the fact that Scottish independence is a dangerous fantasy peddled by a politician who couldn't talk her way out of a paper bag, let alone lead a tiny nation to prosperity. Nicola Sturgeon appeared to have developed a nasty case of amnesia during her marathon 8-hour stint in front of the Scottish Parliament Committee's inquest into her handling of harassment claims made against her former mentor Alex Salmond. The pound shop William Wallace claimed, a staggering 100 times, that she either didn't know, couldn't recall, wasn't sure or couldn't remember various issues surrounding her alleged involvement in the bungled salmon smear campaign that, ultimately, cost taxpayers in excess of £500,000. The First Minister seemingly also can't remember the claim that the last Scottish independence referendum, held in 2014, was supposed to be a once-in-a-generation event. Convenient amnesia strikes again. For the first time in 22 consecutive polls, Survation data now shows that support for Scottish independence hangs in the balance. It is 50-50, even if the SNP is predicted to win a narrow majority in the Scottish Parliament at the elections on the 6th of May. Scottish Tory leader Ruth Davidson is a tub-thumping orator who, had she been more inclined to operate south of the border, may well have found herself in Downing Street by now. She pinned Sturgeon to the mast in Holyrood by pushing a simple point. Will Sturgeon resign if the inquiry rules that she broke the ministerial code? The answer, in essence, is number. Sturgeon said there would be a discussion about it in the Scottish Parliament, and the line is already starting to emerge that, even if she broke the code, there is no need for her to pack up her sporran and shuffle off into the political highlands because, get this, there is no public appetite for it. Forget convention, forget decency, forget morality, there is no public appetite for it. This argument doesn't wash. There would be very little public appetite for National Treasure David Attenborough to go to prison if he'd committed a serious crime, but he'd have to because that's the rules and the rules matter. There is something much bigger than public appetite at play here: integrity. Do the Scots really want to be led to independence by someone who, if the inquiry were to find her guilty, behaved like a tin-pot dictator and clung desperately to power? The latest polling reveals 36% of Scots view Ms Sturgeon less favourably as a result of the salmon carry-on, but a staggering 58% say it hasn't changed their minds. Why is this? Because the Scots have drunk the tartan Kool-Aid. Nicola Sturgeon has fostered such strong nationalistic sentiment over many years that it has become endemic. This raises an important question: why is nationalism alright unless you're English? It is okay for Sturgeon to accuse English people of bringing coronavirus with them over the border. It is okay for her to allow an unhinged flag-waving mob to shout abuse from a motorway bridge as English cars drive up the M8. It is okay to stoke anti-English sentiment and promote a notion of otherness. It all makes Theresa May's hostile environment look like children's tea party. In all of this nationalist fervor, the Scots have lost sight of what independence means to Nicola Sturgeon. It means leaving the financial bosom of Westminster and running into the open arms of the European Union. Why? Well, it is certainly not out of some deep-seated principle that independence is just and fair. I am convinced it is because, firstly, Sturgeon has one eye on her pension packet. She wants to drag Scotland out of the UK, give Westminster a bloody nose, and then leave Edinburgh to claim her place at Brussels' top table alongside the other no-hopers, chancers and political disaster merchants the continent has to offer. She will be right at home alongside the leaders of other postage stamps like Luxembourg and Cyprus. In fact, given the current inquest taking place in Holyrood, coupled with the EU's notorious disdain for due process and democracy, she would probably fit right in. Secondly, I suspect Sturgeon knows that unless her proud independent nation is actually ruled by somebody else, she will have to carry the can for all its shortcomings. Under her tenure, Scotland has the worst drug addiction problem in Europe. She promised to close the attainment gap in the education system between the least and most fortunate. This has not happened. In January, the Scottish Ambulance Service put out an appeal for help to their English counterparts, and Michael Gove is launching an inquiry of his own into how the SNP has spent the £200 million Westminster gave it to help prepare businesses for Brexit. All is not well under Sturgeon's leadership, and that is before we've touched on the vaccine rollout, which, until she decided to splurge on the number of first doses to fudge the figures, was the worst of all the UK nations. The sad reality is that the Scottish public are being used as political pawns in Nicola Sturgeon's power-hungry game. Boris Johnson must stand strong and laugh off calls for another Scottish independence referendum, if anything, to protect the people of Scotland from the crushing reality of waking up one day to find that they live in a patch of land belonging to Brussels, loosely led by a woman who couldn't run a bath. What would Sturgeon have to say for herself when the Scots realized she led them down the garden path? Well, she'd probably claim she didn't remember doing it.